people get really bent out of shape when you're like, this is not how my grandmother makes it. Yeah. You are spitting on her grave. Yeah. You are spitting on my culture. When I'm like, hot take. Fuck the sun. You're not sponsored by the sun. Yeah. Right?
No one has sponsored this podcast. I can't get over the sight of what it looks like when it plops out of the can and it's this white ball of gunk. Cool. Like how your version of casual is still like Momofuku. Okay, check. All right, today's a good one. We're very excited because we have our boy Ham. How do you say his last name?
El-Waylly.
Yeah, nice.
Ham El-Waylly. So episode 3, we talked to Ham El-Waylly.
Yes, who I met. Well, he didn't know it, but I met him when him and Sohla did that pop-up at Nura. They did like a Taco Bell pop-up.
Right.
And I, like a nerd, asked to take a photo with him. Like a fan. But then later down the line, we met through another friend at like a big dinner, and we were beer pong partners.
Yeah.
And
how'd you guys do? That's...
Okay. Yeah, all right. Don't worry about that. We're going to redeem ourselves eventually.
We're going to have to host a little tournament here with all of our podcast guests.
I know, right? Pod party. Oh,
pod party. Pod pong party.
Well, all right.
Pong pod party.
Pong.
Pod
pong party.
Yeah.
All
Hell
right.
yeah.
I'm surprised we still have this podcast.
Yeah. Pocky's coming.
Pocky's in. All right. So Ham has a big career in everything from fine dining to content creation to recipe development to he's working on a cookbook. He's got products. He's got a restaurant coming out. So we're going to get into all that and a whole lot more coming up next.
Yeah, and he has such an interesting background. He grew up in Qatar.
Spoiler alert, jeez.
What? This is just interesting context. To a Bolivian and an Egyptian parent, and has such a diverse culinary background.
Yeah, really
it sounds
unique
like growing up.
take on ingredients, cooking, food in general, and honestly, a really good person you should follow if you like to get experimental and try things that you wouldn't think traditionally would work, but end up like I think the theme of that podcast was that what is tradition really, almost questioning like OG ideas and thinking a little bit more creatively about ingredients and what could be new, and I don't know. Yeah,
using maybe traditional ingredients from different backgrounds and combining them to just create something entirely new. And I mean, he's so smart and creative that he makes really interesting dishes.
Yeah. Keep watching. We got a lot more with Ham coming up. I have a hot take. Julia ordered the worst dishes the other night at dinner when we were at
where
before we went to that concert. We with the podcast team went to see the 1975, which
they were not the worst dishes.
I'm sending Abby pictures that we can put up on the screen.
First of all, I ordered some of them. Lauren ordered some of them, so it was a combined effort.
What was your favorite, the pizza or the poutine? I'm gonna send you pictures, Abby. We're gonna put some pictures on the screen of this.
Okay, my favorite thing, honestly, was just
the plain fries.
The plain fries.
It was the only good
thing.
But
the guac was pretty good too.
Yeah, I didn't try the guac too far for me. But
yeah,
we went to the 1975.
Oh, the sliders were good too.
All right.
I thought they were.
They're all right. But yeah, they took us to see this show at Madison Square Garden, and we went because we just wanted to like do something different and have fun. But Julie and I have never heard a single song by the 1975, and we didn't realize we were going with like straight up super fans. So we were like,
they were singing every word, and then Lauren
was helping us out.
Yeah.
So Lauren produced this podcast, and right before the chorus of every like big hit where everyone would sing along, she would whisper in our ear all the lyrics, so that like when it came on, we could be like, and we just knew the whole thing.
She's like, and tonight we're going out, and we'd be like, and tonight.
And then as we were leaving, Abby was like, Max, do the lyrics to those songs. I was like, I can't take credit for that.
That was a fun show.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was really sweet of Lauren to do that. Like give us all the lyrics before That
was fun. I was very hungover the next day.
Yeah, well then we came back here afterwards.
Yeah.
Got a little more tips.
Yep.
All right, Thanksgiving. I got a hot take. Do you put eggs in your macaroni and cheese?
That is a controversial question. I don't.
That's a casserole when it's got eggs in it. I feel it's not the same.
Yeah. I feel like that's almost a more southern way of doing it with eggs.
Could be.
And like evaporated milk sometimes, I feel like.
That sounds less strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not an eggs and mac person.
Yeah, same.
We gotta find something that we like disagree on.
I know.
I don't know what it is. Definitely breadcrumbs on mac.
I like breadcrumbs.
Every dish needs something crunchy.
I'm trying to think what. Okay, this might be kind of a hot take, but I enjoy a green bean casserole with like the cream of mushroom soup from the can and the crispy onions on top.
The crispy onions, yes. The Campbell's can of cream of mushroom. I know that that's like something that people use a lot, honestly. But I can't get over the sight of what it looks like when it plops out of the can and it's this white ball of gunk. It's just boink.
It is gnarly. It's so gelatinous. Like it is. It's kind of.
And I got
scary.
nothing wrong with some gelatin, but I know that's like something about it is so off-putting to me. But
and then the green beans get really mushy. Like they're not actually. They don't have any crisp.
If I'm doing green beans, I'd rather. Like, honestly, bust out a wok and fry them real quick and then, like, hit them with garlic.
You're going to bust out a wok? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I got to bust a wok out on Thanksgiving. Classic Thanksgiving utensil.
Okay, sorry. I was just thinking, how do you feel about pumpkin pie?
I love pumpkin pie.
Oh, okay.
Why? Do you not like it?
I think it's fine.
No, pumpkin pie might be my favorite pie.
Really?
Yeah, especially with homemade
over, like, key lime pie?
Key lime pie is also really good, but a pumpkin pie with fresh whipped cream, to me, is almost impossible to beat.
Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting.
It's also really easy to make.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I've ever made a pumpkin pie.
So canned pumpkin is like basically, you can roast a pumpkin, but it's like canned tomatoes. Like it's fine to use.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Faki agrees.
Yeah, see?
What's better, like Thanksgiving meal or like the meals that you make after Thanksgiving with all the leftovers?
The leftovers. 100%.
I think the leftovers are better too. Actually, this is how I feel about cooking a big meal in general.
The question is, are the leftovers better than the actual meal? And
yes. I think, honestly, yes. But like in general, when you cook a big meal, for some reason, after cooking for like a few hours, I'm like kind of over it. Yeah, like I've tasted the food so many times. I'm like, I don't even want to really be around it. But the next day, it hits so much harder.
Yeah, it's way better.
Yeah.
Especially like Thanksgiving because there's all this stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Like a turkey pot pie with the gravy. And you can do like, I mean, obviously the classic turkey sandwich.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
if you want to hear what Ham's Thanksgiving meal is gonna look like, stay tuned.
Yep.
Nice.
There we go.
Solid clap.
Amazing.
All right, cool. So, is it rolling? We're good? Yeah? Cool. All right, we're here with Ham El-Waylly. I'm saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Nailed it on the first try. And a lot of people like take you aside is like, how do you pronounce your name?
It's pronounced like it's spelled.
It's pronounced how it's spelled. Yeah. We did not do that. You just nailed it on the first try.
I was scared to go up with
Did I say that right? Like, we didn't even think to ask before.
Nah, I figured. I mean, I was like, E-L-W-A-Y-L-Y. It's so simple.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's give a little background of like kind of, where you come from, all the stuff that you've done, get a little bit of the history of your story. So from what I know, you kind of grew up in Qatar, right?
I did. Yeah.
Right.
Kind of.
Kind of. I did.
Fully. Were you born there?
I was born there.
Okay.
I was born there. My parents are not from there. So they met in D.C. They were going to Howard University.
Oh.
And then they, like, I will never know the story as to why, but, like, my dad found a job there, and then they decided to pack up and then just move to Qatar.
Oh my God.
And so I was born there.
Them, like,
I have, and then they're like, there was a good opportunity. But like that doesn't mean anything. Like why? Like that's
what was the job?
So it was running. My dad got a job there, like running a supermarket, but also that kind of served as a platform for him to like launch like an import-export business. So he would import American products there.
So you were around food.
So I was around food always, and then eventually he shifted that into like opening restaurants there. So I grew up around many different aspects of food.
So you've seen it all firsthand.
Yeah, I've seen it all. Seen it all.
And so your parents is Bolivian and Egyptian, right?
Yeah, my dad's Egyptian, my mom's Bolivian.
Got a favorite Bolivian dish, Egyptian dish?
I do. For Bolivia, my favorite Bolivian dish is the salteña, hands down. I love it. So it's like a cross between an empanada and a soup dumpling. So
Really?
it's this.
That sounds unbelievable.
It's amazing. So it's this baked empanada. It's like kind of a sweet crust, pretty crisp, and it's filled with, they have different, you can have beef, you can have chicken. My personal favorite is chicken.
Yeah.
So it's this really saucy chicken stew that has a lot of collagen in it. So when you chill it down, it chills into a block.
Right. So
Got
just
it.
like soup dumplings.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
soup dumplings. So then you fill the empanadas with that, and then you bake them.
Cool.
And when you bite into it, the goal is to not lose any of the liquid.
Right.
So you nibble off the top a bit, and then
Yep.
kind of sip it a bit. So it's like part soup, part empanada, part
Yeah.
stew. It's like it satisfies everything. It's
I need
fantastic.
to try this.
I know, do they sell this here?
There's
yeah.
one place called Bolivian Llama Party.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard of that.
They,
Where's
s-
that?
Yeah.
they sell it.
Yeah.
I think they have a branch in some train station. I don't remember which one, but their main location
Like
I
in
think
the
is
s-
in Sunnyside
Okay, right.
in Queens.
I was yeah, I feel like I thought it was like around Ridgewood or something that I've heard
Yeah.
of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's in Queens. So they make a
Delish.
good version. So
Okay.
it's
What's
worth
it called
checking
again?
out. Salteña.
Salteña. Okay,
Salteña.
cool.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
really cool. That's and for my favorite Egyptian dish, there's like the classic Egyptian like kosheri, which
Yeah.
is I'm a fan of as well. It's like carbs on carbs on
Right.
It's like
carbs.
everything, right?
So
Like
it's
lentils
like
and pasta
rice
and-
and pasta and lentils and chickpeas with like a spicy tomato sauce and fried onions, and that's delicious. But like my personal actual favorite like Egyptian dish made by my aunt, who like kind of, so my dad's part of a really big family, and he had like in true large family fashion, like the oldest sister kind of took care of
Yeah.
everyone. So his older sister, like my aunt Hosna, kind of cooked everything for everyone. She's like a great cook, and she's the one who like cooks things for everyone. She makes this stuffed cabbage called mahshi,
Yeah.
and it's not like the Eastern European stuffed cabbage where they're like large. They're really small. They're like the size of your finger.
Oh, wow.
Taquitos.
Like, yeah,
Almost
so
like a grape leaf or something.
like a grape leaf.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like that size. So like the ratio of cabbage and rice is like really perfect, and you line it up in a pan rubbed with a lot of like oil or ghee, and then when you bake it, it kind of gets like really crispy,
my
like
God.
the corners of the lasagna pan, like
Yeah.
the
So
best
good.
part.
Yeah.
So I would love to just like, so specifically my favorite Egyptian dish are the mahshi that is against the side of the pan
Yeah.
that gets
Got
a
it.
little
Yeah, crispy edges.
caramelized.
Yeah.
Like I'm very, very specific. So I would like go in, wait for everyone to eat.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, oh, he's so polite. He just lets everybody eat first. No. I just know the part that I
Right,
want. Because then everyone gets the center and all you're left are with the corners. So I
Right.
just
Stuff.
go in with my knife and like scrape everything.
God.
And
Yeah.
just, oh,
Do you
really
eat the
good.
crispy brownie corners too?
Oh, the
Yeah. I
crispy
know.
anything
Yeah.
corner is like the best part. Like even with a smash burger,
Yeah.
like the best parts are the really lacy
Yeah.
bits on the
Yeah.
outside that get really
Oh, yeah.
crunchy.
Right.
I mean, that's what makes a smash burger. Like the whole, yeah, right?
That's the whole
point.
thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Like a pan pizza, the cheese, like
Yeah.
caramelized
That
on the
gets-
outside.
oh, that's the
So
best.
That's
good.
that there needs to be new restaurant concept called Just the Corners.
Oh,
And then it's all just foods that are just caramelized along the edges,
Yeah.
and we cook everything in pans or
Yeah.
things that have only corners.
It's like
I love
it's
that.
just a
Yeah.
zigzag.
Yeah.
That's the
genius.
open for investment.
So smart. Well, that sounds delicious. Our second Egyptian guest out of 4.
Really? High Egyptian ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first guest, Kareem, he's Egyptian, and I forget, he told us his favorite Egyptian restaurant in New York, but I can't remember what the name. Do you have one that you go to?
I like Zuba.
Okay.
It's like a fast casual, but they do everything really well. They have kosheri there.
Yeah.
They make like hawashi, which is like it's pita filled with ground meat, and that's
Right.
Oh,
pressed.
yeah.
So it's like
Right.
burger and a pita kind of deal. And they have this there's this Egyptian cheese called rumi, which is kind of like sharp, like Parmesan-y.
Yeah.
It has like peppercorns in it. It's like pretty tough to find here. I haven't really seen it anywhere, and they have it. So
Interesting.
it's
Okay.
So I like the hawashi with rumi cheese, and that's like it satisfies
Yeah.
like the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
cravings.
Sounds better than a cheeseburger, to be honest.
It does. Yeah.
Their bread's their fries are fantastic.
Oh
Is
my
it the
God.
spot that's by like La Esquina in the
I
city?
think it's in Nolita.
yeah.
I think.
That's
I
it.
think
Yeah.
that-
It's
and
got
it's
like
like
crazy ceiling with the lights. Yeah.
yeah, it's
a
like
cool
really
spot.
well designed. It's
Yeah.
like neon, and it's really
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so you're. Abukir, that's right.
Abukir, yeah.
I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
Yeah,
never been there.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Qatar, right? Or Qatar? How do you say that?
So it's like, okay, so there's a lot of, so in like Arabic, the proper pronunciation is Qatar.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's like a lot of those letters don't exist in English.
Right.
So it like goes to what your philosophy is to how to pronounce
Language.
other like, do you try and
Right.
pronounce it in the language,
Yeah.
which would be like Qatar, which sounds a little like grating to me.
Yeah.
It's like, it sounds like when the English people say paella.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Tortilla.
oh God, just like, so like in English to me, it would be like Qatar.
Right,
But
right.
it's like the correct, like the Arabic pronunciation would be Qatar.
Yeah.
Because-
It's like Giada pronouncing something in Italian.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
It's like, because you'll be like speaking in English,
Right,
and then all of a
right.
sudden you just throw in this like, it's like rigatoni. That's weird. That's weird. So it's like,
That's how our mom does it with Antonio Banderas.
Oh, really?
She's always like, she just loves when she's been talking about a movie, like, yes, starring Antonio Banderas. And we're like,
What's happening here? It's really weird. So it's like whatever your philosophy is.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm speaking in English, I'll say Qatar. If it's
Yeah.
like
Right.
if I need to like if I'm talking about like like how we are, it's like
Yeah.
the correct or like the Arabic pronunciation is Qatar.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
You pick.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say Qatar.
You
Be
pick.
safe,
Yeah. Be safe. Be safe.
Yeah, I know. We're on the internet now. We're just trying not to get canceled.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you were there till you were like 18, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
there-
wow.
Yeah, I was there pretty much my whole
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
my whole young life.
So did that like culinary scene obviously influence your cooking?
It did a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a very international community.
Right.
There's like just as many like expats as there are locals there, just because it was such a booming economy for so many reasons. So there's a lot of people going there for oil and natural gas, but there's also a lot of people there who were teachers and plumbers
Right.
and workers and carpenters. Like there's a lot of people there from all over the place
Right.
doing all
Right.
kinds of different work. So I went to an international school.
Got it.
So I had home cooking from everywhere. So it wasn't like, it didn't seem, I didn't really compartmentalize things into like, oh, today I'm eating Lebanese food.
Right.
Tomorrow I'm eating Somalian food. Like it was just like, oh, this is home cooking. These are like the delicious foods from all my friends that I'm just eating. So
Yeah.
it's like, it was really cool knowing, like, just not thinking any food was weird or
Right.
foreign. Like it just all meant food to me, and all of that kind of what informs how I cook today. Like
Right.
I don't really,
Right.
it's like, I know where these ingredients come from. I know what like I may draw from a specific dish, but I wouldn't consider myself a traditional cook.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
didn't grow up eating anything traditional.
Right.
Because like everything was through a variety of lenses. So
Yeah.
like when I had Bolivian food in Qatar, it was Bolivian food made by my Bolivian mom, but with Qatari ingredients.
Right.
With like, so it was never really traditional. Like when I had Egyptian food at home, it was Egyptian food taught to my Bolivian mom, made with Qatari ingredients.
it.
So it was, everything was always like, I just grew up around this mashup of
Yeah.
food from all over the place, of people just trying to get semblances of home in this new environment.
Right. Was it
With
the,
ingredients they had access
I was
to.
gonna say, was it hard to find a lot of ingredients? Because I guess your parents came from DC, right? So
Yeah.
they're like, it must be like hard to import a lot of things, I would imagine, and like.
Sounds like your dad was the
Yeah,
person
that
to go to.
Exactly. Yeah. He had an in.
So
It was
get
really,
everything, huh?
it was really funny because
Yeah.
like, so there's a, it was hard at the time finding ingredients, but as like more people came and more people imported things,
Right.
it became easier to
Right.
find things because the market was there.
Yeah.
So like my mom studied in Brazil, and we have some family in Brazil as well. So she's very much in the Brazilian culture, speaks Portuguese.
Yeah.
I speak some Portuguese, and there was a large Brazilian community in Qatar because they hired them to train all of their soccer teams, football teams there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like who we spent our weekends with. And it was feijoada and black beans are a very
Yeah.
big part of Brazilian culture, and they didn't really have the black beans they liked, so they all just like surrounded my dad, gave him the brand, tell him you need to import this black beans. The entire Brazilian community will support it. Trust me, you'll sell out every time, and he did, and sure enough, they did.
Genius.
So it was like there was a lot of community built that way, where it's like, oh, we really want this like basic ingredient that a lot of people will use, like the specific black bean that would be great if you imported, and it happened. So that was really cool. So seeing that happen, and like my mom had a Peruvian friend who smuggled in frozen ají amarillos one day to make like proper papa a la huancaína, which was really, really special, because I remember my mom just ran home that day with like this cooler filled with chili peppers. That it was like, we got him, we finally have him, and that was the first time I had papa a la huancaína like properly, like made with the right peppers, and it's amazing, it's delicious. So there's a lot of like cool memories like that of like. Ingredients become very, very valuable.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like you had the literal best possible situation for learning about the culinary world. Like just being exposed to so much.
It was amazing. Like I couldn't have asked for like a better. Like my dad was surprised when I wanted to be like a professional chef. I'm like, why?
What?
Like,
how are you surprised? I was like I was the most valuable thing that I saw growing up was like food.
Right.
It like made people happy because it gave people pieces of home. It brought people together. So like that's what I grew up seeing is like, oh, if you cook well, you will have friends.
Yeah.
And people will want to hang out with you, and like you'll make people happy. So that's like it's. Of course, that's what I want to do. That's
course.
Such a great outlook on life in general. Yeah, good food, good friends.
Were you working in? Did he open any of those restaurants like when you were still living there? And did you work in any of them?
He did. He opened a few while I was living there.
So
So he I did. That was like my first dip into some like a professional kitchen. And it was weird. So I was like, my attitude when I go into like a new kitchen and I want to learn something is like, I'm kind of like quiet, like soak everything in, approach with no ego, kind of just like, I'm here for you to teach me.
Right.
Like I'm not here for everything, but they like treated me like the boss's son, which I thought it really pissed me off. Yeah. It made me so angry. It was, I'm like, I will mop this floor. It's fine. And then they'll be like, get that mop from him. You get that mop from him. And then there'll be like an order come in for like, let's say it's like a Mongolian grill / sushi place in a mall.
Were they like cooking in front of you?
They're cooking in front of you like with a giant plate.
Oh my God.
I love Mongolian.
Mongolian
barbecue. I
they
love
did as well.
that.
Like like he came here. He's like, oh, people are into Mongolian grills, and that didn't really exist there. So then that's what he brought over, and then it did really well. And so I wanted to learn how to roll sushi, and so I would like look. And then an order would come in, then I would try and be like, get that away from him. Yeah. No, you just watch. You just watch it. And like, I want to do something. Yeah. Let me do something. But I was very much sheltered from there. So there was this one Filipino cook though that would take me inside and show me how to roll things. And I'm like,
little mentor action.
Yeah, mentor action. I'm like, cool. Oh, okay, thank you. When no one else was looking, otherwise he'd get yelled at.
Yeah.
So. How's your sushi game now?
Yeah.
Sushi's so hard for me.
Sushi's very hard. Yeah. It's like there's a lot of things that you can kind of like figure out as you go. You're like, oh, I can BS my way through this. Sushi is not one of those things. No. Sushi, you need hours of practice. Yeah. You need like a lot of hands-on. My sushi game is not great. Yeah,
it's like the Euro Dreams of Sushi guys like learn how to make rice for 40 years.
Exactly. You may now open a restaurant. It's really funny. I can slice fish, but like making the rice, rolling it, getting the shape right. It's like I need years of practice under someone who actually knows what they're doing and not just like a YouTube video propped up. And like,
So like speaking of YouTube videos, you went to culinary school, right? This must have been shortly after, I guess, if you're 18.
Yeah, I moved here, and then I had a...
So what prompted that? Like you even just moving here from...
I outgrew. Like it's a pretty small town. You know everybody. You know everything. It's like I've ticked all the boxes I like need to get out of here.
Yeah.
So I moved here, and then the deal with my dad is like, okay, you get a real degree, then you can go do what you want. So I went to I moved to New Jersey, and then went to a community college there. Studied business administration, checked that box. I'm like, okay, fine. Now I can go to the CIA.
Yeah.
So then
I feel like
The real
Jackie did
thing.
the same
Yeah,
exact.
yeah.
it's like,
Sure.
here's the deal. I'll get a real one if you let me get
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
what I actually want.
Yeah.
And then when he heard that the CIA actually offers like real degrees and not just a certificate, he's like, wow, this is like a real school. Like, yeah, it's a school. You learn something.
How long is that program, by the way?
I think that it's a 2-year for an associate and a 4-year for a bachelor.
Okay.
It's like yeah, I would not recommend going to culinary school
what I was gonna ask.
unless you're there to please your parents.
Interesting.
Unless it's like
Yeah.
it's a negotiation. It's like, fine, I'll get this
Yeah.
piece of paper if you
Yeah.
let me do this career.
Well, so
It's
there's so much knowledge on YouTube, and like you can really learn a lot. But do
or
you
even just
feel
from
like,
kitchens.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
is that why? Like, did you feel like you learned so much more in kitchens anyway that that ice just like you didn't need it, or like how
It's not an environment conducive to learning this trade.
got
Yeah.
it?
Because this trade is all about pressure. It's all about repetition. It's all about working with ingredients. It's all about learning about service. It's like a lot of hands-on experience. And when you're there, for butchery class, you break down one chicken.
Right.
right.
You're not learning anything.
Right.
For like shellfish class, you're shucking one oyster.
Yeah.
Useless.
Yeah.
That's all useless.
Right.
So I didn't really learn anything until my first like job in a kitchen, which was
Yeah.
at WD-50, and
Got
then
it.
that's when I learned the importance of speed, the
Right.
importance of accuracy, the
Like,
importance
here's
of like
100 onions. Chop them all right now.
exactly. Because it's not like here's one onion.
Yeah.
I want to see a perfect dice.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's stupid. It's
Totally.
like it's just
Right.
not like I would if you're interested into going this field, especially now. Like YouTube wasn't that big of a
Right.
thing back
Yeah.
then when I was getting into this, but now you can learn everything on YouTube. So if you
Right.
combine like that kind of knowledge on YouTube or like from your favorite cookbook
Yeah.
and then combine that with like hands-on restaurant
Right.
training, that's all
You're
you
good.
need.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all. And there's some people on YouTube that are incredible
Yeah.
and they're completely self-taught
Right.
just from things that they've
Other
gathered
YouTube
around
videos.
yeah,
Right.
other YouTube
Yeah.
videos. Like we live in a weird time where you can learn anything you
Anything.
want
Yeah.
on your like you can probably perform open heart surgery
Right.
Yeah.
if you watch enough YouTube
Should we
videos
try?
on it. Yeah. Someone who wants to volunteer.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
yeah, that's so interesting, the culinary school thing, because it feels like if you haven't worked in a restaurant, let's say you're someone who grew up cooking and like to cook at home, but you don't have restaurant experience, but you're 18, you go to culinary school, it feels like there should be like a vocational program where you have to be in a kitchen, because I feel
I
like
agree.
that seems like where people really get weeded
Well, so
out.
there's like
is just the
externships
pressure.
and things,
Right.
right? And did you do like you must have done an externship, right? Like
Yeah.
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 At WD-50.
Okay,
that was
got it.
the-
That
that
was
was
that.
the yeah.
And where is that?
It's no longer around anymore, but it was
Okay.
in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
It was
Right.
Wiley Dufresne's
Oh,
old
got it.
restaurant.
Got it.
Fantastic experience.
Yeah.
It really it really. I was always a very like curious cook. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to learn the whys, not just like I that goes like I don't really. I wasn't a big like rule follower.
Yeah.
Like unless you could explain to me why this rule had to be followed, it like did not matter to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, is this gonna kill me? They're like, no, then
Yeah.
it's fine. Who
Right.
cares? And that kind of like was a big part of their philosophy. Is like,
Cool.
like the rules don't matter. Like just throw that out. Throw like what those old French textbooks
Right.
taught
Yeah.
you. Just focus on like proper technique. Like how can you make this piece of meat the best possible piece of meat, and why does it work like this? And so it really taught me to think about the whys and the hows and not just think about the result.
Yeah.
Because then that's how you can treat cooking like a puzzle.
Right.
Once you really understand the hows and all the pieces, you can move
Right.
things around, and then you can make pretty much anything. You can combine things that people wouldn't necessarily think about
Yeah.
combining. So
I think
that was that's a really
Right.
cool, that was a really great first experience to kind of lay the foundation of just how I already thought about food before as well, because it was a very, I didn't really believe in traditional cooking because I never grew up with traditional
Yeah.
cooking,
Right.
because everyone's like, yes, you can take Lebanon's delicious, you can combine it with pasta.
Right.
It'll also be delicious.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of different combinations that I grew up just, out of necessity, just because people wanted to recreate dishes that they were kind of familiar with.
Yeah.
And then I combined that with that modern approach of like, no, just throw that out the window. Is it delicious?
Yeah.
That's the ultimate question.
Well, what
is
is
it
traditional
delicious?
food really? Because traditions change all the time. You know?
Exactly.
Right.
That's like people get really bent out of shape when you're like, this is not how my grandmother
Right.
makes it.
Yeah.
You are spitting on her grave.
Yeah.
You are spitting on my culture. But
Gotta
it's
stay out
like,
of the YouTube comments.
yeah.
I know.
But like when you go back in time, like tomatoes are a core part of Italian
Right.
cooking. They didn't have tomatoes. Tomatoes are not native to
Interesting.
Italy.
Yeah,
They're
I think
not.
There's a lot of things like that. Probably.
Yeah, they're
right?
native to America. Like
Yeah.
chilies are a really big part of like Thai cuisine.
Right.
Chilies are not native to that part of the world. They're
Yeah.
native to the Americas.
I did
so
not
like,
know either of those
Shout out
things.
America,
Yeah.
dude.
so like a lot of these things like potatoes,
Right.
spoiler alert, not Irish.
Is that true? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Also from South America.
Wow.
So there's like a lot of these
Interesting.
core things that you're like, this is my tradition. How
Yeah.
dare you? But it's like, it changes.
Yeah.
Right.
Things new.
Yeah.
Things change. Like they're new ingredients that get introduced to new places and
Yeah.
then they become a part of that culinary language.
Yeah.
Like right now I feel like Amazon has played a big part of this, but like the world is getting smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You get
smaller
any
and smaller.
ingredient delivered to your door. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get like my favorite rice to have at home like comes from is this short grain rice from Japan that's like hand polished. It's like
Oh my God.
it's like it's a luxury, but it's like I don't have rice that often, so when I have it, I want it to be really nice
Yeah.
rice. So that's like my gift to myself.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's like you wouldn't be able to get that rice.
Yeah.
before. And it's like I don't cook it like sushi rice. I turn it into other things.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like I understand how short grain rice works.
Yeah. Right.
And I know different ways to cook it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's like I'm not spitting on Japanese tradition.
Right.
I love your rice. You grow
Yeah.
amazing rice.
Right.
You treat it really well, but it's not how I like to use it.
Right.
Right.
Like
I mean,
it's-
anyone who doesn't follow you on Instagram who's listening to this should, because you make some really interesting, like the corn kind of queso thing with miso is like, you know what I mean? Like there's like all these things that you just wouldn't think about, which is super cool because a lot of these YouTube videos and TikTok videos, which are amazing, often just are repeating the same kind of
Are
handful of
recycling.
things. Yeah. Which is cool too, but it's just nice to see somebody do something totally different all the time.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like that's kind of that's an active choice. Like I don't anytime like I write a recipe or put something out there, it's like I want to make sure is this something that people have seen before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it is, then like I personally I know that's a lot of people's game and
Yeah.
respect to that. That's great.
Yeah.
Like
It's been
everyone
done.
brings a different twist
Right.
of things, go for it. But like personally, my like challenge to myself is okay, what can I bring different to this
Yeah.
recipe or to
Right.
this dish that will, be delicious or just be a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
And on that note, do you enjoy writing recipes then, or do you really just enjoy like riffing and like cooking or like
Being in the kitchen.
being in the kitchen? Like,
Yeah.
I like just being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And kind of like I feel like how I develop most recipes is I actually just cook and then write the recipe
Right.
later. Like
Yeah.
I like
Figure it
to
out
be
as you
around
go.
the ingredients and then I'll be like, oh, this is good. This should be a recipe. And
Yeah.
then I'll
Yeah.
write the recipe. I don't really like to sit down and like write out a
Right.
recipe.
Yeah.
I like to like be in there and have it feel a little off the cuff.
Right.
Because that feels a little, that's where my personal creativity thrives
Yeah.
better.
Well, you're perfect for the show you have with the New York Times mystery menu.
Exactly.
Which is
Yeah.
like just that. It's like they throw an ingredient in front of you and you got to figure out like a zillion ways
Right.
to do something with it.
going back to, was it WD? You want to say
WD-50.
WD-40?
Is
Would
that
not be the
play on
first,
word?
yeah.
Yeah. Is that why they did that, or is that?
Yeah,
of
okay.
course. Yeah.
So how long were you there ultimately?
For a year.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
was there
So
for a year.
that was the part of that was your externship, but also, okay, got it.
Got it.
So then,
And they I was offered to stay there for longer, but I had to go back to school, and I was really bitter about it.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I was really, really, really upset about being back in culinary school.
Oh, yeah. What a bummer. After you're
Yeah.
like
Already
move-
working.
Yeah.
You're already working like, oh, this is great.
Right.
I really like the people I work
whole
with.
point
of
I
the
really
job.
like this restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you think about like trying to go back there after you finished school?
I did, but I also wanted at that point. It's like, okay, I've done that. Let me
Yeah.
try and do something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you finished. How much longer did you have to go in
In
culinary school?
A year.
Okay.
Like another year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Sohla and I ended up getting married. And then we moved to LA, which is where she's from.
You guys met in culinary school?
We met in culinary school.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, you guys got married right away.
Yeah, we met in culinary school. We had every class together.
Oh my
we
God, that's
were
so sweet.
in every like group project together. So we were initially friends. Well, initially she didn't like me very much. Then
Worked on it a little bit.
then worked on that a little bit. We became friends, and then we got married.
Wow. Damn.
So we moved to LA. I did not like LA.
Where in LA
No
were
one
you?
does.
I don't
I
know.
don't like
I did not. Oh, you don't either. Okay. Oh, great. Yeah, there's like a lot of not for me. Just not
Yeah,
for me.
same.
Like you sure you get sun, but at what cost?
Exactly.
At what cost?
At what cost?
2
At
hours
what
of traffic
cost?
every day.
Yeah,
And
it's
also-
like ugh.
I don't need the sun every day.
I don't.
Like,
I'm also not
Yeah.
a sun person.
Same. I'm not either.
I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
I want overcast. I
Yes,
want cloudy. Like, give me some rain. I'm
Me
happy.
too.
Like, I don't need the sun
Yeah.
ever. I'm
Fuck
fine.
the sun, dude.
Yeah.
You
Like,
heard it here
when-
first.
When I'm
hot take.
fuck the sun. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it didn't really fit. And like the restaurant scene there now is like very different.
Yeah.
But like at the time, it just didn't feel as alive as it is here. Like here, there's like a certain competition. There's like really, you're constantly striving to be the best in a lot of, and that's kind of what I was looking for. I wanted that.
You were
I wanted
going
that
for
drive.
high end,
I was going
right?
for high end.
Yeah.
I was going for high end.
Okay.
I wanted to really grow and learn and really get like shat on. That's what
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
looking. I was
yeah.
looking
Yeah.
for. I was looking for that pressure. I was looking
Kind of
for this, like,
military,
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's what,
Yeah.
and it just I didn't really find what I wanted
Yeah.
there. So we were just there for 6 months. Luckily, she didn't like it as much as I didn't like
Yeah.
it, which is, even
Thank
though she's
God.
from there, which
Yeah.
is great. So we moved back to New York.
Okay.
Got it.
And then that's when I started working at Empeon with
Right.
Alex Stupak, who was the pastry chef at WD50.
Got
So
it.
that kind
Okay.
of it's really funny how like these little moments just build on each other, and then
Yeah.
then eventually you have a
Yep.
career.
Mhm.
It's all about connections.
Yeah,
I know.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the other thing with New York too. Like, whatever industry you're in ends up being very small very quickly,
Yeah.
and but in a way that everyone helps each other and
It's
connects each other.
amazing,
Yeah.
especially like the restaurant scene is so small here. Everyone knows everybody else, and,
Yeah.
and there's this camaraderie
Yeah.
between every. I'm sure it's the same in every industry,
Totally.
just because
Yeah.
it's like it's very very competitive, but you're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's just the perfect blend of
Right.
like what I was looking for.
Yeah, all the bartenders or the owners in Bushwick are in a giant group thread.
Are they really?
Everyone's talking. You need a handyman, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. So you like the pressure in the kitchen? Like I know there's a couple trains of thought on that. Like you got guys like Jay Kenji, who's all about like being really nice to everybody, and then there's like the Gordon Ramsay kind of TV character that's like, idiot sandwich. So like, how do you feel about the somewhere in the middle, or you like the pressure?
I was like, I had something to prove to myself. Like I was a sick kid. I had like this autoimmune disease that was pretty chronic. I had like it's called ITP, where my platelet count was really low, which meant that my blood wouldn't really clot. So I could like get internal bleeding that wouldn't stop.
geez.
So there was a lot
Oh
of
my
things I
gosh.
couldn't do as a kid
Got it.
physically that I
Yeah.
wanted to. Like
And is that like something that was only as a kid, or I mean, like
it was up until like 13.
Oh, wow.
So it was
wow.
it was a long time.
Oh my God.
And so things like I would sneak out to play basketball, and then this
Yeah.
one time like I made a shot, it rebounded off the rim, and then the basketball hit me in the face. Normally hilarious,
Yeah.
but for me, like I ended up with like this giant bruise on the right side of my face that like wouldn't stop. So
Oh,
then
no.
like that meant a hospital visit. So I spent a lot of times in and out of hospitals,
Yeah.
a lot of times like being told, no, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So I personally had a lot to prove
Right.
because I wanted that very physical, very tiring.
Yeah.
Like I signed up for every brunch double. I wanted to feel like I was physically pushed to
Yeah.
my limit
Really
because
doing it.
I could.
Yeah.
Because, like I wanted to prove myself. I'm like, I can do this now, so let me do it.
Right.
So that was a big part of what I was looking for at the time. But my philosophy on that in general, I think there's a happy medium between treating someone respectfully
Yeah.
and pushing them to their limit.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's how you get better. Like being pushed to your limit, then your limit changes.
Yeah.
It's like working out. Like
Right.
you
Stress the muscles.
You
and then-
stress that muscles
Yeah.
to their limit until you feel like you can't do it anymore, and then you take a break, and then the next time you push it further, and then
Yeah.
you keep pushing it further, and that's how you end up becoming really, really good.
Right.
Yeah.
But like a personal trainer, there are different ways you can achieve that. You
Yeah.
can be supportive. You can do that nicely, or you can just like scream in someone's face and then
Right.
be like, I think their restaurants are thankfully moving into like a more inclusive, a gentler place, which I think is great
Yeah.
because there was a lot of a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of physical abuse, like depending on what restaurant you were in, depending on who you are, but there is no place for that in a workplace. But at the same time, there is a way to push
Yeah.
people
Well, some people
without
like
hurting their
the
feelings.
pressure,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people like the
Yeah.
pressure. Like
Right.
it just depends. Like no one should feel threatened at work.
Right.
Like that
Yeah.
we can all agree on
Yeah.
that. No one should feel like,
Yes.
oh, today I'm gonna get a plate thrown at my face
Right.
and then
Right.
my nose might break. Like
Yeah.
no one should feel like that
Have
at
you
work.
ever had an experience like that was just awful? With like a
I
boss?
have not. Personally, I
That's
have
good.
not,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
good.
Good.
But I've heard
Yeah.
and like seen other
Yeah.
situations, but I personally have not had a situation like that, which is
Right.
nice.
And I think
Sohla
to
never
that
throws a
point.
plate at you.
yeah, never at home. Yeah, I also feel like there's a way to put pressure on in a professional sense versus like a personal one, and
Exactly.
like that's
Yeah.
another way that like lines can get blurred.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially in that fine dining setting where you are striving for that kind of perfection. I feel like you do need to get pushed to
Yeah.
get to that level.
Right.
You do. You just
Yeah.
have to. Like you
It's not
won't.
gonna happen without it.
It's not
Yeah.
going to happen without it.
Yeah.
But you can also push in a professional, respectful way.
Right.
I think that's what everyone's like. There's like people throwing their hands up. It's like, oh, fine dining is gonna suck now because you can't like throw people down the stairs anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
It's just a couple of crazy people.
yeah, it's like no, you can still push people. You just have to figure out how to do it
Yeah.
respectfully.
Right.
Stern but fair.
Stern but
stern
fair.
but
Exactly.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you did fine dining for a bit, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that was
I did for a while. Did the rounds like was at Corton for a while. Did Empeon for a while, and then I kind of shifted to a more of a casual side. So then I worked at the Mofuku Ando, which was like the delivery only concept
Right.
that they had, which was really, really cool. Also, like there I worked with JJ Basil, who's also like a good friend of mine. We
Got it.
met at WD50, so has a similar mindset of understanding the hows. And like that was a fun puzzle to work because all the dishes there, it was you wanted to make maximum delicious, but it was things you can make quickly
Yeah.
in bulk, and also that would hold for a certain amount of time,
Right.
Because
Yeah,
it was
delivered,
because
yeah.
it had
Yeah.
to be delivered.
Yeah.
So to shift from this is tweezer food, needs to be
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
needs to go from sous vide bath to plancha
Right.
to plate in like 15 seconds. You
Yeah.
got to make that work. To like how can you make this fried chicken stay crisp,
Right.
Yeah.
be
Different
perfectly
challenges.
seasoned, stay not dry out, and be delivered.
Yeah.
Like it's a completely other set of challenges, and that's what I love about like the culinary field is that
Right.
there's so many. If you get bored of one corner of it, you can move into another. There's unlimited numbers of direction that you can go in. Like it never gets boring because
Yeah. Right.
there's always something to learn. There's
Right.
always something new to do. Like what I'm doing now is completely different
Right.
from what I was
Yeah.
doing 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so but I'm still working with food. I'm still being creative with food.
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
cool.
Like how your version of casual is still like Momofuku. What were some of the like staple items on that delivery menu that you thought worked well for delivery? You think?
The
Fried chicken?
JJ's fried chicken, I
Yeah.
think it's a shame you can't really find it anymore because I think it was probably the best fried chicken in
I was
the
gonna
city.
ask.
It was amazing.
Like what's the technique?
Now, what do you think is the best fried chicken in the city?
deep question.
That's a tough
Because I know,
question.
I think
I know what my favorite is in like Williamsburg or Brooklyn at least. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's
they're different tiers. So
Yeah.
fast food, the best fast food
Sure.
fried chicken, Popeyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
Everyone can agree on that.
Yes.
I don't think anyone disagrees that Popeyes is
Yeah.
hands down the
The
best
best.
fast
Yeah.
food. Like
Yeah.
no one comes close.
No.
Like when Sohla was pregnant, she had a craving for KFC.
Yeah. You're like, why? Let's get the Popeyes.
Well, we haven't had it in a long. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
remember the last time I had KFC because
Yeah.
we're always having Popeyes.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So we're like curious. So like let's give it a try. Terrible.
Really?
Terrible. Is KFC a sponsor of this?
No.
Yeah.
Popeyes, reach out.
Popeyes,
Yeah.
definitely. Popeyes A plus.
No one has sponsored this podcast.
Not yet.
Manifesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's fast
not
food.
great.
Yeah.
I do like Bob White.
Oh,
I do like Bob White.
I've
Bob
wanted
White?
to try it. I've still never
Is
had
that
it.
is that fast food or is that a restaurant in New York?
It's a casual like fast foodie thing, but
Yeah.
it's a small.
Got it.
It's a small operation.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do so. They have a location on Avenue C, B or C. I think it's C, and they deliver fried chicken sandwiches, which are great, but you have to go in to get their actual fried chicken pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. 'Cause, like they're like they know that their fried chicken doesn't
Right.
deliver well, so it's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
want it, you better
gotta
come.
be
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really good. I think it's my favorite. But usually if we're having fried chicken, we're usually making it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the best fried
Of
course.
chicken
Yeah.
is the one at home.
Yeah.
That's
Always.
because we like cooking it in a cast iron pan, so
Right.
you
Yeah.
get like those nice barnished bits. It's like the best fried chicken is the one you make at home.
Always.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm
Same with
hungry.
everything. I know, right?
You know, I want Popeyes, and then I
know.
want fried chicken when I get home.
Yeah. Okay, got
What
it.
about what's yours? What's your
I was
favorite?
gonna say Commodore.
Commodore?
Yeah, yeah.
I know. I think they're not the sandwich is fine, but the fried chicken plate, like you're
It's the
saying,
same, yeah.
is so good.
It's way better than the actual
I don't
sandwich.
think
Yeah.
I've ever had
I'm like,
the
it's-
Commodore fried
You
chicken.
should go for that.
Got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And
Okay.
it comes with like the honey butter and biscuits and like
Really?
the
3 hot
those-
sauces.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
really
good.
good.
I don't think I even knew that they had a fried chicken plate
yeah.
because you only ever hear about their
The
fried chicken
nachos. The
sandwich.
plate
Oh,
is the
sandwich, yeah.
way.
No, the
Yeah.
plate's the way, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way different.
Hot tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commodore, if you're interested in sponsoring this podcast.
I would love to be sponsored at Commodore. Frozen mojitos and fried chicken every
Yeah.
podcast.
So good.
Okay, so that's all right. So we got Mofuku, right? You're doing the delivery thing, and then where did you go from there?
So from there, we opened up before I worked at Ando. We opened up Hail Mary, our restaurant
Right,
in
that's
Greenpoint.
before.
That was before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm-
It was open for a year.
It was like
Right.
And then
elevated
it closed.
diner.
Yeah,
essentially.
it was a diner
Right.
with like, an
Yeah.
elevated diner,
Yeah.
which I learned at the time that no one really wants because
How so?
diners, like people's perception of diners, that they're cheap and
Yeah.
they're fast.
Yeah.
We were not fast and we were not cheap.
You were doing like
Our
fine
bad.
dining
Our,
diner.
our
Yeah.
bad. Our bad.
So
We-
what was some of the highlights on the menu there?
Well, we did a fried chicken, like a hot fried chicken,
Yeah.
but we use Sasso chickens,
Okay.
which are this like really nice heritage bird with
Oh, yeah.
yellow fat that you get like from one specific purveyor in
Oh
New
my
York.
God.
They're probably the best chickens I've ever worked with. I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah.
But they're expensive because
Yeah.
so delicious fried chicken, but it didn't really mesh with what people wanted to pay.
Right.
We made everything in house, everything. We
Wow.
made our own American cheese. We like Sohla
American
baked our own
cheese.
bread. So our cheese.
So it's like a $30 fried chicken sandwich.
So our like cheeseburger, which
Yeah.
was like a riff on a McDonald's. I love the McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yeah,
like
who
the
doesn't?
Single patty,
Julia
cheese, and pickles.
freezes them, by the way.
No,
Keeps
I
them
know.
out.
My
You are a
boyfriend-
monster.
Not me.
Because
Mix them
McDonald's
in
are
the-
hard to come by. Why would you ever need to freeze them?
Trust me, I try to figure it out too.
That's a long story for a different day.
So
But yeah.
so it was a riff on like the McDonald's cheeseburger, but it was fresh bread, made our own American cheese,
Wow.
and then we ground the meat fresh every day.
Oh my
It had
God.
like
Oh
dry
my
aged beef fat
gosh.
in it. So it was like this lovingly constructed McDonald's cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it came out looking like a McDonald's cheeseburger.
You like
Right.
nailed
With all-
it.
and they're like perfect, but then it cost more than a McDonald's
Yeah.
cheeseburger, so people were upset. And we
Confused.
were also like, I don't know why we were like this, but we're like, we're not going to say any of this on the menu because the food is going to speak for itself. It doesn't. It doesn't. Literally, a menu is what
Yeah.
speaks for your food. That's the point of a menu.
Oh my god.
So it just had like cheeseburger. $15. And then it comes out and it's a McDonald's cheeseburger. And then people are confused. And it's like, we made a lot of mistakes.
That's funny. Well, so how long was that place operating
It was
for?
for a year. Yeah,
Okay, cool.
God, I mean, it sounds like I want to try the food. Though.
Food was delicious.
Yeah.
It was all delicious. And like Sohla ran the pastry program and the bar program.
Cool.
The drinks were amazing.
Yeah.
There were riffs on like classic diner. Like there's a banana split that was banana split Manhattan type thing where she steeped bananas in whiskey, and then there was some like fun, really fun takes on things that just wasn't right for the time. Maybe do better in Greenpoint now.
Yeah,
probably.
Greenpoint was a different place, and like other people have done the riffs on like the fancy diner.
Yeah.
So I think it's less jarring now.
Was that where D&D is now?
That's where it was the.
It's a good space.
Yeah. It was a really really nice space, big space.
Yeah.
Really nice skylights in the back. Yeah, it was really really cool. We didn't really have a lot of money, so we did it all ourselves. Like we sanded the floors. We got some friends to like help us wallpaper. It was like a very very like mom and pop operation.
Wow, what a cool experience.
Did you raise any money to open that spot?
We did not.
Or just do yourself? Wow, that's impressive.
We did it ourselves.
That's not easy to do.
We got a small loan from my dad, and then we tried to get some loans from banks.
Yeah.
They weren't interested.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we have this little amount of money. We want to try and do this. Let's make this work.
Yeah.
So then we just made that budget work for us, and that meant doing everything.
Wow.
So
it's expensive. Was it already built for a restaurant? Was it like
it was
vented?
built. That's why we luckily found that place. It was fully turnkey. It was vented. It was fully turnkey.
Yeah.
So that was the only way it could happen. Because if we had to do any work with a contractor, we would not be able to afford it.
Expensive.
So we just made all the cosmetic changes we could so that the restaurant looked different and like really cool. So that was really the approach we went. So we just went in, slapped on some paint, and then started cooking.
Wow.
Yeah. So you did that for a year, and then when does it become the point where you're like, all right, it's not working properly. Like it's not working how we want it to work. You know what I mean?
Well, it was like by that time, right before we closed, it like started turning and started getting busier.
Ugh.
And then
it takes time.
It takes time, but then we just didn't have the money to sustain it. We just didn't. Like we got like a Star Chef's Best New Chef award for it.
Yeah.
And then the week after we got the award, we had to close the week before. So it was really rough. So it just
oh my gosh.
It's really expensive sustaining a restaurant. It's like it takes, because we were making sure we were paying our employees fairly. We were using like sustainable like ingredients that we were proud of serving.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
So it just didn't wasn't feasible. So then that closed. Then I'm like, okay, we need money. So like the day we closed and had our auction, I started working that Monday. So we closed Saturday, sold things Sunday, and then I was at work on Monday.
It's a good lesson for people that like don't give up. You know what I mean?
It's like we're looking at our bank account. There's nothing in there because we poured it all into this restaurant. And so started working right away. And then a year after that, Endo closed. So it's like 2 back-to-back closings. I'm like, okay, I need something stable.
Yeah.
So then I applied for like a corporate chef job at E2 Hospitality that does like the BLT steaks and the Chloe's. They have like a whole bunch of restaurants.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I was looking for security. I was looking for health insurance. Okay, I just want something stable now.
Right.
And even then, like I feel like I wasn't a great manager until that job, because you're managing huge groups of people all over the country, and you're working with a corporate team, you're working with an office, so you really learn how to communicate with a lot of different people, instead of, because my experience has always been like, cooks there, you're here, you're just communicating almost like directly but learning how to communicate indirectly with groups and kitchens, and it's like a whole other skill that I'm like really grateful to learn. And then so I'm like, okay, I'm moving, I'm chilling where I'm feeling stable, and then COVID hits.
Oh geez.
And so then all the restaurants close. And so then I'm out of a job again, and then that's when the shift kind of happens to kind of, all right, I need to be in control
Right.
again. And so then that's when it kind of shifted into this recipe developing media.
Right.
Like I'm still consulting on restaurants, but it's not like it's a different
Right.
thing. And I'm getting back into the restaurant game because I am opening a restaurant with a couple of partners.
That's right.
I
in
was just
Fort
gonna
Greene.
ask.
So it's an oyster New Orleans kind of vibe, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh
We're
my
really
God, I
excited.
love that.
Yeah,
New
we're really
Orleans is like
excited
one of
for
our favorite cities.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's fantastic. Anoop, one of my partners in the project, like really the main force behind the project. He's
Anoop?
from Louisiana.
Got it.
Yeah,
I feel like I know.
probably.
Yeah,
Anoop
yeah.
knows everybody
Right,
because the
right.
industry is quite small.
Yes, yeah.
You'll probably know him when you see him.
Mm-hmm.
When the restaurant opens.
When's it
Yes.
opening, by the way?
We're in construction right now.
Got it.
Hopefully soon. Fingers crossed. The menu's all developed.
Yeah.
We've been doing pop-ups. We're
my
hoping to do some more,
Yeah.
just so people can kind of get a taste
Good
of the
taste.
menu. It's going really well, and
Cool.
I'm really excited for everything we've put together. Like it's been years of development and
Right.
tasting. We went to New Orleans together.
Yeah.
Ate across the city,
Oh my
and kind
gosh.
of like are bringing back that kind of flavor back. It's really hard to find good broiled oysters, like a good
Yeah.
variety of like people.
Yeah.
Felix's or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like people will do a Rockefeller,
Yeah.
and that's it. So
Yeah.
your choice is a Rockefeller or a raw oyster or
Yeah.
like a pan roast.
Right.
That's pretty much it. But like we're really expanding that what you can do with an oyster. So we're frying it, we're broiling it a bunch of different
Oh my
ways.
God.
We're serving it raw, obviously. Like my favorite broiled is the, like you mentioned, Felix's.
Yeah.
There's a certain smell, like
Yeah.
a smoky smell that the char-broiled oysters give you.
Yeah.
And then as soon as like when we're developing it and they came out from under the broiler and we smelled it, we're like,
That's
oh,
it.
we nailed it.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
That's like, I think that's the one I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
most proud of, I'm happiest with, because it's just, it's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
So are you going to be like actually in the kitchen, or you're just helping like develop the menu and open the restaurant, and you're like part co-owner, or what's the?
Yeah, I'm a partner in the bit. Like, I'm
Got
definitely
it.
going to be very involved, but we're going to have a chef
Yeah.
that we're hiring for right now,
Nice.
actually.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
There we go.
Post on Craigslist.
You like
Yeah.
oysters?
Yeah. you like oysters? Please reach out to me if you're interested. There's going to be like a chef in the kitchen running
Got
the
it.
day-to-day, but I'm going to
Cool.
be very involved. Definitely like spearheading the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to be involved in the restaurant industry again from this perspective.
Is there going to be other sort of like Cajun dishes and things, or is it going to be mostly oysters?
Oh, so we're not going to serve any meat.
Got
So it's going to be oysters, shrimp, and crab,
Cool.
and a bunch of different fun things that we're doing
Nice.
with that. We also have like an escargot situation
yeah.
that is really,
Delicious.
really delicious. It's fun. I can't wait. I'm really
Where did you say
excited
that
for
is
people
again?
to try it in Fort Greene.
Fort Greene. Okay.
Excited. Is that going to be like a bar too, a restaurant only?
It's gonna be a bar.
Nice.
There's like there's
talking.
gonna be some solid, really cold martinis. 'Cause I feel like martinis
Yes,
and oysters just
100%.
like are
Yeah.
perfect.
How do you take your martini? We asked Jackie this
Dirty.
too.
Dirty,
What
same.
Dirty,
vodka
very
or gin?
dirty gin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
I hate
This is
vodka.
Same.
Same.
Yeah.
A vodka martini is not a true martini. I feel
It's
like.
also
Yeah.
like, why do you want to drink a glass of
I
vodka?
don't know.
Who wants to
Makes
drink
no
a glass
sense.
of like? Then drink some rubbing alcohol.
Right.
That's like it's the same thing.
I totally agree.
I like gin at least has like you've got the juniper, you've got some
Right.
aromatic. It's like.
It's good.
Don't you want some flavor with your
Right.
alcohol? You
Yeah.
want like it's good, and then you like really dirty, lots of brine in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Ooh, so it's like salty.
Yeah.
It's great.
You can't ice cold though.
Yeah.
Needs
Yeah.
to be,
Oh, yeah.
needs to be ice cold.
Yes.
As soon as it comes up like a little bit, then it gets gross.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm just drinking alcohol. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you need it to be ice cold.
Shaken or stirred?
Shaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when is this new place gonna open?
TBD. We're
TBD,
still in the
still in the
construction phase.
construction,
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
So, like, you're doing that, and you're consulting for other restaurants. Like, what really goes into consulting first? Like, say someone asks you to like put together a menu. Like, where do you even start with something like that? I guess they give you a theme, maybe, or
Well, there are different type of consulting. So I've consulted for restaurants as a whole, or you can consult on like an individual item.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is kind of like talking to what the person's vision is
Yeah.
getting that, and a lot of tasting. So those are the main two components. So like first I'd get like, okay, what are you interested in? What are you looking for? Because it's important it's really important to have like the menu not read like a consultant made it.
Right.
Like,
What does that mean?
It's a little generic. Like
Yeah.
it's like you don't really have any personality of the space or the
Right.
owner or
Got
whoever's the driving force behind it. That's like the most important part of what I think about when consulting is like try and get some personality in there, because then it just falls flat.
Right.
Then
Yeah.
it just it feels very like corporate-y.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
then it's like you're just the Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah. That's like
I know-
exactly
I know-
the type I was thinking of.
I know people love giving this.
It's like cheeseburger. Yeah.
You're not sponsored by the Smith,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Yeah, so it's like I think it's important to get a feel for the personality, what
Yeah.
they're going for, like the vibes are important.
Yeah.
when you're
100%.
developing a menu,
Yeah.
and then we just taste,
Right.
Yeah.
and then we just taste and tweak
Iterate,
and until you get it right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they're getting kind of back into the restaurant business and also consulting, and you've had your stint in media. Do you enjoy the media aspect of things? Are you kind of like, it's fun, but I don't want it to be my main gig? Like, how have you felt about that experience?
I think to me it's new.
Yeah.
So there's like a certain challenge to it that I find it really fun.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it. Like the show I do with Sohla for the New York Times mystery. That's
Yeah.
mystery menu. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things.
It's an
to
It's
do.
awesome
so
show.
fun.
It's-
I watch all those
it's
episodes.
a lot of fun because
Yeah.
it's just we love cooking competition shows.
Mm-hmm.
We've watched every season of Top Chef as it comes out, and it's really
Same.
cool because we like kind of grew up on it together because it's been around forever.
Yeah.
So
Forever,
we've
yeah.
like watched every season. We're always in a different place in our lives
Yeah.
with every season. So it's like kind of like when we've recently rewatched all the seasons. So it's like strolling down memory lane because it's like, oh, we were here when this season came out.
Yes.
We were like cuddled up in the bunk bed at
Yeah.
the CIA with this season. So it's really cool. So we love
Yeah.
cooking competition. So it's kind of like our way to do a cooking competition.
You guys
So
are the
it's really
perfect, like,
it's really
two
fun.
I
people.
know.
It's so much fun.
It's so-
It's really fun.
Is that show like ongoing still? Like, are you gonna do another episode soon?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
If they want it. New York
Yeah.
Times, if you're listening.
It's so.
It's a great show.
I know. I've seen like every episode. All the dishes you guys make are so creative. It's
Let's
so interesting.
Well, you tell them what it is, like, just so anyone listening, it's
Yeah, I mean, so essentially, you guys have an hour, right? And they give you a mystery ingredient, and then you're supposed to create a full meal.
Yeah, they initially the prompt is dinner and dessert,
Oh,
or
okay.
like 2 dishes, but we're like no,
Yeah.
we let's like let's push ourselves, see how
Yeah.
far we can go with this, and then there's some of them that just end up becoming full tasting menus
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because we get really excited for an ingredient. So it's a lot of fun seeing what you can do with
Yeah.
an ingredient, and it's a fun mental
Yeah.
Totally.
activity. Like it's a good way to kickstart your creativity,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
always
So
fun.
last year you guys did the mystery ingredient around this time was cranberry, like the canned cranberry sauce, right?
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
there anything from that you would make again this Thanksgiving since it's coming
Oh,
up?
yeah. There's we made like a queso fundido type thing with like crispy cheese that kind
Yeah.
of looked like a deep dish pizza.
Yeah.
That was amazing. That was so good.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if there's anything that you have recreated, or if there's anything that you made that you were like, oh my god, this is like not good. I wouldn't eat that again.
There's I think the Jello episode, like yes, it was tasty,
hard to work
but it's like I don't need to work with Jello again. Hot
Yeah.
Pockets as well.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to work with Hot Pockets again.
Right.
Like that was my first time having a Hot Pocket and my last time
Really?
having a Hot
Got
Pocket.
it.
Because not many
Not a-
hot pockets in Qatar.
No, they didn't have them, but when they did get them, since it's an import,
Yeah.
they're really expensive.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's like, yes, here you can justify spending $1 for a Hot Pocket.
Right.
And then, but there, can you justify like spending $3 on a Hot
Right.
Pocket?
For,
Like,
like,
what's
hardly
your
food.
like,
Yeah.
like I said, like, oh, Hot Pockets are like not like my parents didn't consider real food.
Yeah.
And then people got mad at me calling me elitist. Is like,
my gosh.
but it's not.
No.
It's not. Like, yes, it's a cheap food,
Yeah.
but if it's not cheap anymore, will
What's
you
the
still
point?
pay for it?
Right.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a cheap food to me growing
Yeah.
up.
Right.
So my parents are like, we are not spending this much on something that isn't real food.
Right.
Right.
So it's like,
Like, would you get a McDonald's hamburger for $10?
yeah, would you spend $10 on a McDonald's hamburger? Like, is
Yeah.
that like what is your threshold of
Right.
like these things are accessible because of their price point?
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you take the price point away,
There's no point.
there's no point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, something that you would make again, or that you have made again from one of those episodes.
Banana polenta, which we did with we make that all the time.
Oh, really?
We
Okay.
that's just like a regular side for us. It's delicious.
Yeah. How do you
do
do
it?
it?
Delicious.
What's the strategy? I haven't seen that one yet.
It's just you make regular polenta and then you just finish it with chopped up bananas, some mascarpone cheese, season it up. That's
Little
all you
sweet,
need.
salty
salty
good.
Just sweet, salty.
Yeah.
The bananas play with the corn really well.
Yeah.
It's
Delish.
delicious,
That sounds good.
delicious.
Oh
And I
my-
actually don't like bananas as a hand fruit. very
Really?
much. Like bananas, bananas need to be the perfect ripeness for me to like them. You know
Same.
what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like them a little mushy. I don't know.
you do.
You like 'em
I hate
really?
the mushy. I hate the mushy.
Same. I like them like almost not ripe yet. Like
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I want a little snap to my
yeah.
banana. If there's like a speckle on the banana, they're going to Sohla smoothies because I'm not eating them. I like an unspeckled banana.
a hand fruit.
So you're doing
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. We were talking before a little
Oh, yeah.
bit. You have a kid now?
We
Small
do.
child?
We have a small child. She's almost 3 months
Oh
old.
my little
Exciting.
tiny baby.
A tiny baby.
So, okay, so you're doing Thanksgiving with your family. Your sister's coming to town, you said. What are you
Yeah.
guys going to make?
So it's a really small, intimate Thanksgiving. It's just going to be 4 of us.
Cool.
So what's really cool about that is that you can kind of blow it up a little more because you don't have to worry about feeding a large group of people.
Right.
So we're splurging a little bit this year since it's our like baby's first Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we planned. We actually wrote out a menu. We're gonna spend the whole day just cooking.
Love
So we want to make like mac and cheese agnolotti.
That
So
sounds
we're
great.
gonna make
Yum.
fresh pot, but we
Yeah.
still want it to taste like mac and cheese, and we're gonna shave a little white truffle on that
There you
because
go.
why not? They're in season. They're only in
sounds-
season for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really special. We have a connect, so it's gonna be great. We're really excited for it, and then we're gonna do like make some rolls. Make some nori rolls
Nice.
and then serve that with like a little uni. So a little uni and like warm roll. It's kind of like
Crazy things.
it's like
I'm not
butter
gonna
of the
come over.
sea. So yeah, we're really excited to kind of flex our creative muscles
Yeah.
because it's like right now since we've shifted to kind of more of a media forward home cook type of cooking, we don't really cook the food we were trained to cook, which is
Right.
like fine dining with these big ingredients. So we like to at least like save up and once a year get like a tin of caviar or
Yeah.
get some uni or
Get fancy with it.
Get fancy with
Yeah.
it. Like it's not an everyday thing,
Right.
like, but it's like it's the holidays, so it's like it feels like an appropriate time to
Yeah.
do it.
Right.
And especially since it's like our baby's first Thanksgiving, like it'd be really funny to have, her at the table surrounded by truffles and uni. That's like that's like a fun first
Right.
Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's gonna
we
be
want to do
crazy.
something
I
special.
know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so fun. So it's almost just an excuse to make a delicious meal, not necessarily a
course.
Thanksgiving
Yeah.
theme.
Oh, there's
yeah.
gonna be turkey. We're still
Oh.
doing turkey.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How
we're
do you do your
doing
turkey?
So we're going to usually like to dry brine it. So like turkey, rub it with a lot of salt, just let it hang out in the fridge. Since the turkey's like usually if you're doing it with a chicken, overnight is
Right.
plenty. But since it's a turkey, you want at least a couple of days
Okay.
for it to really get that
Yeah.
the benefits of the dry brine, so it goes all the way in.
Right.
And then a slow roast, like low temp, like 250.
Oh wow.
250,
Yeah.
300, really low until it reaches, let's say 150,
You crank it?
and then crank
Yeah.
it, basting it with clarified butter, so you
Nice.
get that really nice crisp skin.
Do you do it whole, like the whole bird? Or do you ever?
Usually we do the whole bird,
Yeah.
but for this, we're going to break it down. So we're going to roast the crown
Mm-hmm.
whole,
Yeah.
and then we're going to debone the legs, stuff it with stuffing,
Oh,
roll
yeah,
it
dude.
up,
Nice.
cook it, and then sear it.
Oh.
And then the wings, we're going to confit in duck fat
Oh,
and
damn.
then fry them. Like,
That sounds so good.
We gotta step up
Oh
our game
my
this
yeah.
year.
So we're going for it, and
Yeah.
we're like
Yeah.
really excited because we just don't cook like
Right.
this anymore. So
Yeah.
it feels doubly special
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it like for a small group of people that you really care
Yeah.
for. That's like, look, you're having like a Michelin star Thanksgiving
Right.
dinner. That's like it's really fun. It's
Just
really
the
cool.
three of you eating
Just-
a whole
Yeah,
turkey.
exactly. The three of us. There's gonna be a lot of sandwiches in our future. That's why I feel like it's good. It's great with turkey because leftover turkey breast always gets eaten.
Yeah.
Always,
Like there's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
a leftover. I actually like the turkey breast specifically more the day after than the day of.
Right.
Just because it's like cold, sliced thick in between, like with a lot of mayo, some lettuce, tomato, and like some really good Pullman.
So
That's
good.
so good. Like I love turkey sandwiches. I love turkey sandwiches.
Plus, I mean, you could do so many different. You can make soup, so many different things you can do with leftover
It's
turkey.
like really versatile. So it's like, and it's like good protein. It's like it's like not overly fatty, so you're not gonna feel like it. It's great.
Oh my God.
Are you gonna do super fancy baby food?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. I've already
do
planned
that?
it.
Yeah.
So we got a back at WD50. I used this. There's this European blender called the Thermomix.
Roku? Oh no, Thermomix. Yeah.
So it's a combination. So they use it in Europe for everything. It's like their microwave there. Like you can, because what it is, it's a blender that you can change out the attachment. So it can be, instead of a blade, it can be a paddle.
It
but
heats up or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
that's the cool thing. It heats up, but it heats up to a specific temperature. So you can set the temperature, set the speed, so you can like cook risotto in there. You can knead bread in there. You can like blend whatever you want in there. So our dream, our plan is to get like farmers market produce and then blend it up in that Thermomix to the perfect temp to where she can eat it. Yeah. And then like that's what she'll what she'll eat.
That sounds like your guys' next business.
Yeah,
like
I know.
super fancy baby food.
Hey, there's a lot of business opportunities if you're interested in investing in super high-end baby food.
Opportunities.
Yes. There's like we're gonna get sponsors. We're gonna get business opportunities. We're gonna get this sorted out. Don't worry. They're gonna be sponsors fighting over.
I hope so.
Have you guys ever thought about doing like because like you guys do some? You and Sohla kind of collabed with the spice company, right? To do this.
Burlap and barrel.
Right.
That's also a lot of fun. Like a lot of there's a lot of fun missing in food.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of seriousness and a lot of like, this is the best. We are the best. You are like, there's like, and the blends that we made, we wanted to combine something fun with like a slice of like classic Americana.
Right.
So we wanted to hit certain points. Yeah. So like the first one we came out with was Pizza Party. So we wanted it to feel like you were walking into like your local spice shop.
Right.
So that has like garlic powder, habanero chili, oregano. And so it's like all those all the shakers that you always had at the tables, all mixed up together.
So good.
So
Oh
you
my
can
God, I
just
love
pour it
that.
on top of your pizza.
Yeah.
You can pour it on top of salad. You can do whatever you want with it. And then after that, we did like our version of ranch.
Right. That's
So
good for pizza too.
also great for pizza. So it's just like it's the ultimate ranch powder. And then the one we just came out with, which is my favorite name and blend, it's called Yo Quiero Taco Blend.
Nice. Just dodge the copyright.
You change one word and then you're good. And it's like a Taco Bell-ish type taco blend.
Nice.
So it's like it's fun. Like the names are fun. The flavors are fun. So it's like a nice. It's like a cool, because a lot of people have spice blends, like, but we usually at home we have spices and then we kind of
make them.
We make them.
Yeah.
But something like a taco blend, if we have it, we'll use it. Something like ranch powder, we'll use it. Something like so we wanted to think of spice blends that we would actually reach for and use.
Have you ever heard of Penzeys Spices?
No, I haven't.
It's a Midwest spice company.
with it.
Yeah, but it's similar to that. They make a lot of fun like spice blends like that.
awesome.
So I love, and I have those types of blends like that, and I use them all the time.
Yeah,
so
they're fun.
Yeah.
They just cut your cooking. Like if you're tired and you just want
It's just easier.
Yeah,
especially
it's
for like
easier.
home cooks who aren't gonna do like how you guys would
exactly
do it, make it like from scratch immediately.
Yeah.
So we got the spices, we got the new restaurant coming. Are you working on a cookbook?
I am.
Oh my God, the big reveal.
I am working on a
Sick.
cookbook. It's I'm working on it currently, and it's basically the focus of it is I want to show people how to use their grocery store in like interesting ways.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
So it's a combo. There's going to be no traditional food in it,
Yeah.
but it's like home cooking that I grew up with.
Right.
Inspired by everything I've learned along the way and ingredients that you have access to.
Oh my God, we've come full circle.
I
So
know,
we've come
right?
full circle.
Yeah.
It's basically, you want to think, you want some insight on how I think about food or like how these pieces come together. This book will kind of show you how. It's kind of like a snapshot of inside of my brain. So there'll be explanations of where like the dishes come from.
Right.
So if you're interested in finding out the traditional OG, you can do your own research. There's Google, but you're not finding that here. You're finding new ways new ways to like use old
Right.
traditions.
Right.
How do you think creatively about the things you see
Yeah.
every day? I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm definitely getting that cookbook just
awesome.
because I mean you have such an interesting perspective on dishes and recipes.
I know.
When does that come out?
Working on it currently, probably year or
Okay,
so.
cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. What's that process like? Are you just kind of, I don't know.
It's a lot of planning. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
a lot of spreadsheets. So I've like, you work on an outline, then you scrap it. You're like, I hate it. I hate myself. I'm an idiot. And then you start it over again. Then you have like a spreadsheet of recipes, and then you put it up on the wall. Then you look at it, develop some of them, and then you figure out you hate it, and then you hate yourself, and then you hate everything. You tear it up and start it all over again.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a lot of pre-planning. It's a lot of testing. A lot of, because I want it. I don't want anything to feel like there are going to be some like difficult things in it, but the main goal is I want it to feel accessible to people.
Yeah.
So
It's important.
so I want to make sure I never feel too lazy to make any of the recipes in the
Right.
book.
Yeah.
That's like kind of like my test. If I look at a recipe, I'm like, ugh,
Too
I don't
much.
feel like
Yeah.
making this. I'm like feeling lazy.
Yeah.
Then I exit
Yeah.
out and think of something else.
That's a good
That's
test.
kind of like
Yeah.
my litmus test is
Yeah.
like if I look at it, I'm like, oh, I'm excited and I've got everything around. I can
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
throw this together and it's not a big deal. Then that's like a good candidate for a recipe for in the book. That's kind of like
Amazing.
because like we've got a kid now, we've got 2 demanding dogs.
Yeah.
There's like home is busy right now.
Yeah.
So like
You guys have been doing a lot.
I know, my God. I'm like,
Like projects on projects and restaurants and cookbooks.
what am I doing with my time? Like,
Together. We're just sitting at this bar talking.
but what a bar it is.
Yeah.
Right?
What a fantastic bar.
oh my gosh, well, congrats on that. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
So many exciting things to look forward to.
Yeah, a lot's happening. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like there isn't enough time, but like you got to make time.
Yeah.
We're watching for the next thing always.
Yeah.
I know.
Thank you.
If you can
And
do that.
congratulations on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Soon to be sponsored by Popeyes
By Popeyes. I think you said poppers. I was like, that'd be wild.
or Poppers.
Rush, give us a call.
Oh, man.
Okay, cheers to that. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming
All right, well,
on.
thanks for
Cheers.
coming, man.
Thank you. Thanks for
Cheers.
having me.
Of course.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Do we sit?
Let's chug the whole thing. Yeah. Watch, I just slipped some gin in there. Oh, I shouldn't have said. Whatever. Did I botch that whole thing? Okay, whatever.
Refreshing 9 a.m. water. People get really bent out of shape when you're like, this is not how my grandmother
Right.
makes it.
Yeah.
You are spitting on her grave.
Yeah.
You are spitting on my culture. When I'm like,
Hot take.
Fuck the sun. You're not sponsored by the sun.
Yeah,
Right?
No one has sponsored this podcast. I can't get over the sight of what it looks like when it plops out of the can and it's this white ball of gunk.
Cool.
Like how your version of casual is still like Momofuku.